South Africa's police minister says there's been a significant surge in the number of murders and other violent crimes in the country. According to Bekele, the first 3 months of this year were violent, brutal and unsafe for many South Africans, with more than 6,000 murders reported. This is an increase of about 20% compared to the same period last year. Kidnappings, according to the minister, have more than doubled to over 3,000, recording the sharpest increase. Between January and March this year, the police minister says about 10,000 more rapes were reported. Ele says better relations between communities and the police are needed to fight crime in the country, vowing to weed out corrupt officers and better equip the police. For more on this, we're joined by CGTN's Angelo Coppola in Johannesburg. Angelo, certainly very bleak news coming out of that report, especially that data about the sharp rise in murders. Tell us about what else has emerged from this report.
Well, Linda, in that 6,083 people that were killed in that first quarter, 898 of them were women and 306 of them were children under the age of 17, and there were also 27 cops or police officers killed then. Child murders are up 37.2%. The other issue that we focused on is the sexual offences increased by some 13.7%, or 13,799 reported cases. POPCRU, the police union, says that the increase is indicative of more people coming forward to report sexual offences. Those numbers added up to a 9.3% increase of crime in this quarter. It also appears that there were 3 sexual offence hotspots: Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape, Inanda in KwaZulu-Natal, and Tuandando in Limpopo province. So it's not a pretty picture by any stretch of the imagination, and the other data you mentioned already. So there's got to be something done about it, Lindy.
And indeed, and of course, this data is just looking at the first quarter of the year. What are some of the factors contributing to this massive rise in crimes, and what measures are officials taking?
Well, look, POPCRU, who I mentioned earlier, the Police and Prison Civil Rights Union, says that the rising crime stats are in fact in almost all categories. And this is the problem, and it doesn't come as any surprise, they were saying. In fact, and they released a statement this afternoon, and they said that the working environment of the police wasn't conducive to efficient operations. Added to that, there's the social political conditions in the country, including that super high youth unemployment level, and then you have a recipe for high crime rates, as we've seen right now. It's also a truism, we're told, that if you can't measure it, you can't find solutions. In this case, on a broader level, we're told that the crime stats are meant to act as a tool to provide law enforcement agencies with data so that they can actually decide where budgets should be allocated and spent. The problem is that the general increase points to a SAPS, or South African Police Service's, inability to stem the tide. There's talk of implementing a station accountability plan to police the police stations. The SAPS minister also wants to work closer with communities, as you mentioned, but he understands that corruption has to be rooted out first. But they have to find the money and allocate it to the crimes that matter. So that would be a great start, Lindy.
Indeed. Let's hope these stats do lead to more effective solutions.